All right, Ben. Ben, where are you from originally? Where'd you grow up?
Kind of grew up all over. Lived in all four corners of the U.S. really, but I spent a lot of time in Virginia.
What was your family like growing up?
My parents split before I was born. My dad was in Leavenworth when my mom and him got divorced.
What was your dad in prison for?
Selling drugs when he was in the Army.
How would you describe your childhood with mom?
I meant it could have been worse. Really, most of my childhood I just kind of spent by myself.
Tell me about your mom.
Mom worked hard. She had 3 boys. We always had food, always had roof over our heads. Mom wasn't home very often, but she worked her ass off to support us.
This was in Virginia?
Yeah. The men she chose weren't always the greatest. But then I've been on probation since I was 13.
You like trouble?
What's that?
You like trouble?
Seems that way. Follows me. Wrong time, wrong place, really.
Maybe trouble likes you.
We definitely have a relationship.
How far did you go in school?
I graduated.
You did.
Mm-hmm.
What did you want to do with your life?
I wanted to be a teacher. I should be teaching high school right now.
What did you do with your life?
Joined the Army and got out, got divorced, got a felony. Something I didn't even do. And it's been like a catapult since then, downhill.
Drugs have been part of that?
Always. I did drugs the whole time I was in the Army. I'd be up 5 days running 5 miles.
Crystal meth?
Yep. I did it all through language school. Whole time I was at Fort Bragg. I probably haven't had a sober day since I was in basic training.
Where'd that take you?
The drugs?
Yeah.
Fuck. Been on probation 3 times. I didn't really get off the 3rd time. I kind of took myself off. Got warrants in 2 states in the feds. Nowhere good. I almost got out and got away. But I was moving to Colorado actually from Virginia. I was done selling. I had a chunk of money. My mom got in trouble. So I went back to go get her, and then on our way back to Colorado, we got arrested. And that was painful. That's because everything I'd worked for, I lost. Got another felony. More warrants. My mom went to prison.
So both your parents are in a similar situation as you?
Yeah. My dad, he's a lot better now.
Is he out of prison?
Yeah. He's got money. He teaches yoga in Bali.
It's a change.
Yeah, we don't talk though. We haven't spoken in 10 years.
How long you been in Los Angeles?
About a year.
You been on the streets the whole time?
Yeah. Um, I basically dipped out on probation from Virginia in 2016, came out to Colorado, where I bunkered down with a girl that I was seeing for about 10 years. She took care of me well. When her and I split, I really didn't have anywhere to go, so I kind of fell to the streets. That was about 3 years ago. It's kind of been downhill since. I knew somebody out here, and they said they could help get me housing and a job, so I came out here. Just recently, they got me some type of housing. And my ID should be in this week, so I should be able to go back to work for the first time in 20 years.
What's your drug still? Crystal meth?
By choice, it's pretty much fentanyl these days. I'm not really one to say no, so I'll do whatever they was offered, really. But if I'm gonna go seeking something, it's gonna be fentanyl. I'm not used to like physical withdrawals. That's kind of a new thing for me. Not being able to put it down when I want to is definitely something new.
Opiates are a very different story than
Whole different ball game.
crystal meth.
I've been smoking crystal meth, been shooting for 25 years. I can put it down no problem. This fentanyl, not so much.
You're a slave to it now.
Right now, I kind of feel that way. I've definitely found myself doing things I normally wouldn't do to avoid getting sick.
What's the most hair-raising thing you've done to make money?
Man. My girl and I have definitely gone car hopping, checking doors in parking lots for unlocked cars. Definitely had sex for money.
What's that do to a straight man?
Things get twisted. It's definitely one of those drugs that, man, if you ain't got no job to support yourself and you're trying to fucking feed a habit every day, you're gonna have trouble. I was never much of a thief or anything. Ever. Now I find myself robbing grocery stores for food. Every dollar I get goes and feeds an addiction. I don't even remember the last pack of cigarettes I bought. Literally every dollar I've ever gotten in the last 3 years has gone to that fucking drug. Even met up with these guys one time for money. My girl's been arrested since Christmas. She's been in jail in Denver. Partly why I came out here. And I met up with this guy. I'd never done GHB before. And I took some. I was starting to feel pretty good. And I don't really remember much after that, just kind of vague glimpses. I know I started off with one dude, and I got vague glimpses, and I remember there being 3 at some point. And then when I kind of finally woke up, there was nobody there. Needless to say, I didn't get paid.
That's a hard reality of having an opiate addiction, isn't it?
No shit. You know, I used to make fun of people saying that they had to get high. They could not get high. They were mad at themselves for wanting to get high. And I'm like, I couldn't process it. Like, I did drugs because I wanted to. When I didn't, I didn't. And it kind of seemed like when my ex and I split up, and like, I kind of had this different taste for opiates at that point. I never really liked downers. But meth had caused me so many problems in my relationship that I was trying to steer clear from it, and mentalities that it brought. And downers had a newfound place. I slept every night. I stopped shooting up early. I went to work. But still a slave to that fucking pill.
Your life was more in control on uppers?
I would say you're not so much a slave with stimulants as you are with opiates. With opiates, you might say one thing and you might totally mean that. But if push comes to shove and your addiction is in question, whatever the fuck you were doing or saying just goes out the window. Doesn't matter anymore. Like, there is no getting sick. It's not even on the plate. Like, even if you're broke, you know, and you know you're going to be out soon. Like, you'll think and plan and be like, what am I going to do tomorrow? Like, non-stop quest every fucking day.
What was the downside of crystal meth?
Well, I guess people hate on fentanyl right now, but meth was the demon there forever until methanol hit the scene. And then meth's its own demon. Not sleeping for fucking 6 days, people start, like, unfortunately, thank God, paranoia and anxiety weren't my fucking problems. Thank God. People are fucking thinking every construction worker outside is a fucking hidden FBI agent.
I've seen it.
I'm like, man, you're not that important. That's why I got to keep telling everybody, you're not that important. Nobody gives a shit about you. Like, who's going to waste their time and do all that planning for what? To watch you? No. You're not important. You're not doing anything.
Do you wish you'd never picked up
Drugs?
opiate
Oh my God.
or drugs in general?
That's a hard question. They were my only respite for a long time. Like, I kind of had this issue with family when I was younger. It's weird what the brain attaches to find comfort and support when there's nothing there. You know, we find other coping mechanisms. Especially when the parents aren't around. I don't know if I wish I'd never picked it up. Then I wouldn't be able to sit here and have this conversation with you.
You have kids?
I got 2 daughters, 21 and 19.
Were you there to raise them? Or?
For a little while. Patience was in middle school when I left Virginia. I think she was in 8th grade maybe. The younger one was in 6th. And then I went about 10 years almost without seeing them. That was pretty hard.
Is that because of drugs or jail? Prison?
A little bit of all of it. I basically left the state, wasn't going back there. hid out in Colorado for 8 years. Got arrested. They let me go because they said that my warrants, they didn't give a fuck west of the Mississippi, so I wasn't going east of the Mississippi again. And that's where they are. So they're pretty pissed off right now. And they think I chose drugs over them. I guess in a way I did.
What do you think people that don't do drugs don't understand about addiction?
I think people that don't do drugs normally are very limited with their thinking and their scope of reality. It's one thing to have crossed that barrier and understand what it's like, but if you don't have any concept of what it's like, it's almost really nothing you can tell that person. You know,
You just look like a big fuck up who's making terrible decisions.
basically. It's like until I started opiates, I would look at people that did opiates and I might understand what they're telling me per se, but my brain's not really getting it. Like, still I just hold on to, like, what do you mean you don't want to do them? And like, you have to. Like, my brain just wasn't making that connection. I understand it a little more now.
You ever tried crack?
I've tried just about everything there is. Shot just about everything there is. I love mixing them. Wasn't the biggest fan of crack. Shooting coke's probably better. Probably close to smoking crack.
How old are you now?
40.
What do you worry about? What's your biggest fear?
Probably say dying alone.
I hear that from lots of people. It's their biggest fear.
It's not the same without somebody to share it. Unfortunately, in the drug world, things just aren't very, things change kind of quick. Nothing lasts very long. Normally, at least.
What would you like to see happen in your life? What do you wish for?
Well, this will be the first time I've had an ID in almost 20 years. It'd be kind of nice to go back to work.
You think you can work with a fentanyl addiction?
I'd like to think so. I guess as long as I kept my addiction moderated. Thought about going to the VA clinic and getting substance abuse treatment, Suboxone or methadone. I don't really see how it's any different, though.
Might be a little more functional.
Probably a little more functional. I say they don't bother me that bad, but man, I still nod the fuck out at the worst of times. The worst of times. I've literally lost more drugs than most people have even seen.
I think there's plenty of people down here on Skid Row who make a living relieving people of all their
Worldly
possessions every time they pass out on opiates.
Yes, they are.
Every time you fall asleep, you wake up with nothing.
It's kind of like that now, no matter what the fuck you're doing. Like, I literally lost everything that I own, things that were priceless. These last 3 years have been painful. I keep telling myself I don't want to quit. I don't want to quit. I'm not really sure why.
Is it purely a physical drug addiction that's keeping you stuck, or it's got something to do with your self-worth?
I'd say that definitely goes hand in hand.
One leads to another, and
Yeah. I mean, especially when your background's already marred like a motherfucker. It's hard to feel like you fit in the normal world. I'd gone back to college twice. And both times I went back, I I never felt like I fit in with people that didn't have a fucked up background.
Who was the best male role model you had around when you were a kid?
I don't think I had any role models as a kid. I didn't truly meet somebody that I could respect until I met my ex. We were together for probably 10 years. But she's probably the first person I've ever met in life, period, that I felt like I could trust and that I respected. She's probably the first role model I ever had. She was like 20 years younger than me. If I had to pick one, probably my brother.
Older brother?
Yep. He was always sober. He didn't make the same choices I did. He didn't get in trouble with the law. Didn't do drugs, stayed sober. That was never me. I don't think I've ever chosen to be sober, ever.
You think that's something that you're trying to escape, not look at from your childhood, or is it just it's the way you're wired?
I mean, there's definitely reasons.
Not having dad around.
Yeah, Dad don't want to talk to me for some reason. Says I'm too volatile. So I don't really feel that way. But
as a kid, do you think this is just the way you're hardwired, or is it something happened to you that put you on this path as opposed to your brothers?
I mean, I don't know. My mom always talks about some things when we were younger that like my brain just doesn't remember. She was dating this one guy who it all ended when a gunshot went off and we got woken up in the middle of the night and taken out of the house. Supposedly we were told that this dude was cleaning his gun, but then we were told later on that my mom had shot him. And I only got vague memories from back then. But some of them are just kind of weird. Like, I have these vague memories of him making me wear a diaper to school. But it's literally just glimpses. And I guess I used to steal my mom's clothes when I was super small. And I really don't remember any of it. But when my mom gets drunk, she goes off about it sometimes. But then when I talk to her when she's sober, she doesn't know what the hell I'm talking about. So I don't know. I don't know, some shit happened before I can remember. Or some shit happened afterwards that like my brain doesn't want to remember. I don't know. I'm definitely wired to enjoy life when I'm high. It kind of just makes life worth living, I guess.
Are there any upsides to this lifestyle?
Fuck. Upsides. People say they're free, but I dare call this free. I would say that the only upsides is that it weeds some people out. Like, life will only coddle you so long. Then again, I don't know, it seems like I work down at the sidewalk project and we do harm reduction, helping these people out. You know, and the older I get, the more I feel like the more help you give people, the more stagnant they become. It's like in order for them to evolve into something greater, they have to
Go through tough.
they have to deal with strife and conflict.
Yeah. You help them out and they start relying on that help.
No doubt. It's like you just build a crutch for them.
Yeah. I've seen it 1,000 times.
You know, and all this help that you're giving people goes from appreciation to entitlement. Like,
That's exactly right.
they stop saying thank you and they start saying, where's it at?
Exactly.
Everybody I've ever helped out in life has turned that way. I don't feel like I do. I feel like I'm appreciative, and I try to be when people offer me or do things good for me. But I don't ever feel like I get what I give in any shape or form. People are quick to turn because they're jealous or they feel threatened somehow.
Ben, what would you say is the most important lesson you've learned in your life?
Oh boy. I guess maybe that, you know, as long as you're still here, it's not too late to make a change. Yeah, people get so caught up in where they're supposed to be rather than looking at where they are and realizing that you can be anywhere else. Like, you're not stuck in this, whatever you're doing. Like, if you want different, just do different. You know, life's very precious, and it's gone so quick.
All right. Ben, thank you so much for sharing your story. You're still a young man. You can change your whole direction of your life.
We'll see.